Welcome to another episode of the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. It is Friday evening, 6:30 p.m. Eastern. It's December. We're in December, day number 2 of December. And as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How are we doing today on this Friday evening? Not doing too well last night. It was pretty ugly battle. Bills, Patriots.
It's a bummer.
Yeah, it was. That will be our first topic today. We will jump right into that. So let's get right into it. The Bills beat the Patriots 24-10 on Thursday Night Football. It was not as far apart as the score might say. If you look at the stats, at least between the quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Mac Jones were pretty similar. Each completed 22 passes. Mac Jones had just under 200 yards, and Josh Allen was just a little bit above 200 yards. Josh Allen, 2 touchdowns. Both of them had no interceptions. Who do you think deserves the most blame for this Patriots loss last night?
I'd say all of them, the coaching staff and the players.
Okay.
And, I'm wearing a hat that says do your job on it, right? They didn't last night. They didn't do their job. And I think it's pretty much everybody. It's strange. I don't understand it. I think the Patriots have a lot of good players. I think their linebacking core is really strong. It seems to be getting better as they go along. Uche, he had a good game last night. Jerome Bentley, he's a good player. Judon was leading the league in sacks. He didn't have any sacks last night, right? 2 games in a row now. I think he didn't do much against the Vikings either. So this happened last year, late in the season. As the season went on, the defense didn't seem to get worse. So I don't know if they run out of gas or what. So I think they have a good linebacker core, and I think their secondary is pretty good. But why'd they play man defense last night? How come they stayed in man defense the whole game? Why didn't they try zone once in a while there? It was too much for Jonathan Jones to cover Diggs one-on-one the whole game. Look at Diggs had a great game. And it was obvious he was having a good game. They needed to change something there. I don't know why they didn't change to a zone defense. I think they should at least tried it, right?
Right.
So that on the defensive side. On the offensive side, Mac Jones's numbers there, you point out, are similar to Josh Allen, but Josh Allen made more plays than
right.
Mac Jones did by a long shot,
agree.
right?
I agree.
I mean, the Patriots started the game. They had first down, and then they no, they didn't have a first down. They had the first couple plays were pretty good. They were right there for about 6 inches for a first down. He goes to hand it off and drops it.
Right.
That was like, that took the wind out of their sails. They could have had a first down there. They might have marched down the field. Next, then they had the drive with Marcus Jones in the game, and they got the touchdown. They were looking pretty good there, but they couldn't stop it was a long time before they got to their first punt in 2.5. It was 2.5 games since there was a punt by Buffalo. Buffalo is just a better team, I think. I think the Patriots' defensive line is not, they never have a defensive line that gets a lot of pressure.
It's been a very, very long time.
The penetration all comes from the linebackers, right? It's never the front four. They rarely get a sack, the front four. And they didn't. The Vikings handled them well, and so did the Bills last night. But Allen had plenty of time to pass.
Right.
And then when he was back there and couldn't find anyone open, he could run around. He had plenty of room. There was room for him to run. So very disappointing. Very disappointing. Now the Patriots are 6-6. Last place in their division.
They have a 54% chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, wow.
They dropped out of the favorites. They were the 7 seed. Now they're down at round. They had the highest chance out of the non-playoff contenders to still make it.
They got a tough schedule still.
They do.
And the competition in their division is very tough, and the teams that are ahead of them in their division have easier schedules.
Right.
Right, because they had lousy records last year. The Jets, for instance, they probably have a better chance, I think, than the
definitely
than the Patriots do, because they've got an easier schedule than the Patriots do. They'll be, if the Patriots make the playoffs from here, I'll be surprised. Actually, I will be surprised, and I'm very disappointed. I'm still root for them 100%. And I like their team. I think they have a lot of good players on it. They just don't seem to gel,
Right.
Particularly on offense. They don't gel. And I would say Mac Jones, while his completion percentage is very high, and he's been passing better lately, he throws a lot of passes that are they're going up.
Yes.
They're too high.
Yeah.
I don't know why he does that. His accuracy sometimes a little questionable. So
I could see that.
And he doesn't seem to be able to make the play on third down. He just couldn't do it last night. Credit to Buffalo, I guess. Their defense is very good, but they didn't have Von Miller out there.
Right.
So I don't know. What'd you think?
Well, it's not many times you see Bill Belichick just be bumfuzzled by an opponent so consistently. Belichick for the past 20-something years has really had an inconsistent AFC East. No true, number one competitor. He was always beating up on the Jets. The Dolphins were generally hit or miss. Maybe they were a little bit competitive in the early 2000s. But later on, it was really no contest. And the Bills have been, they missed the playoffs from like 91 all the way up until 2016. They won this huge stretch of.
They were horrible.
They were absolutely terrible.
They were an easy win every time for the Patriots.
Yes. Although a little bit later in Brady's career, towards like maybe 2018, 2019, there was like that 16-10 win that they have, and that was.
I think that was one where the Patriots had locked up their spot, and they didn't. They wouldn't have anything to play for.
It could have been that. But what I'm taking away from this is, first of all, they went 3-12 on third down compared to 9-15 for the Bills. The Bills almost doubled their time of possession than what the Patriots had, 38-21 in minutes. And one thing that I've been saying since like probably week 5 or 6 was the Bills don't run the ball very well. In this game, they ran for 132 yards. Belichick, for some reason, does not do well against the run, unless that's the only thing a team could do. Because when it comes to the Browns could really just run the ball, and Brissett could do just enough to not lose them the game. In this case, Josh Allen could pass the ball extremely well, and also and this running game was very, very good. So you have two different aspects of the offense that Belichick needs to stop, and generally Belichick can only shut one thing down. For the Super Bowl, 2018 Super Bowl against the Rams. The Rams made their success on Todd Gurley running the football. Todd Gurley was unfortunately hurt, or he wasn't 100%, and when he did go out there and play, Belichick just shut him down. And it was left up to Jared Goff to go up against a phenomenal defense. Jared Goff didn't do it, only put up 3 points in that entire game. Brady didn't play well either. It was a 13-3 game. It was a very defensive game because the Rams at that time, Aaron Donald was at its Aaron Donald hasn't really fallen off. He hasn't played well this year. He's also dealing with an injury, but Aaron Donald was at his peak at that point. Jalen Ramsey was doing really, really well. So Belichick had a difficult time stopping this, and
He didn't stop it.
Well,
but you know what? I thought they were in the bend, don't break mode, right? Because the Bills have, in the previous games, have had a hard time in the red zone, and Allen has been turning it over in the red zone. So I think the Patriots' strategy was let them have the time of possession, march up and down the field, but hold them to a field goal or a turnover in the red zone.
Right.
And that worked pretty much through almost the middle of the third quarter, right? And then the Bills just kind of ran away with it, And the Patriots they missed poor Nick Folk. He's been having a hard time lately. Yeah. He had a 48-yard field goal where he hit the crossbar.
You don't see that. You don't really see that with kickers unless they're up there in the age where they're doinking 48-yard field goals. Usually they either go wide left, wide right. You don't see them hit the crossbar.
I know. He didn't have enough distance on it. That's rare. That's right. And so I think that part of the time of possession thing was a strategy by Belichick. He thought he could stop them in the red zone or get a turnover there or just a field goals.
Right.
And they managed to get touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right? 24 points.
It's also, you brought up Jonathan Jones, and that was what I saw that game, and they didn't try to double Diggs. They didn't play zone. It was Jonathan Jones manned up solo on Stephon Diggs, who is a probably top 5, if not top 3 receiver right now in the league. He had him solo covered. Jonathan Jones was getting beaten.
Yeah.
And in the touchdown to, I think it was Gabe Davis, when Josh Allen, it came out that he was 0.3 yards away from the out of bounds line, where he made that running throw to Gabe Davis. Jonathan Jones just ran out like the play was over. He just gave up on the play. And Mac Jones was furious. There was I don't know if you saw on the TV. Mac Jones was telling Matt Patricia, the effing offense sucks or something like that. We need to pass the ball because the running game sucks. And that's true. They ran it. Let's see. I have it here. They ran it 14 times for 60 yards. It was really only Ramondre Stevenson doing everything.
Yeah.
No one else. Mac Jones was the other rusher because they brought in that, I want to say, fifth string running back Kevin Harris.
There are problems with the offensive coaching.
Yes,
for sure, because they don't throw to the tight ends. They have two decent tight ends.
I would say two really good tight ends.
Yeah. Although, what's his name?
Jonnu Smith.
Yeah, Jonnu Smith. He tends to turn the ball over, but not this year.
He did pretty well for the Titans, though.
He hasn't.
That's why he's making like $20 million, almost $20 million a year.
A lot of money, and they don't even use him.
Right.
And Hunter Henry is a good
receiver,
really good receiver. They didn't throw to him at all last night.
Right.
They didn't even try.
Right.
I don't know what and the plays out of the backfield, right? The screen passes. That used to be a big thing with Brady and Kevin Falk. They had a great short pass and dink and dunk. Why not try that? I don't know why they aren't doing that more.
Well, they did a lot of short passes, and that gained some success, but at some point you have to throw it down the field. Because if you're down, 14 points, 17 points, 10 points, and, the time's running out in the entire game, or at least in the quarter, you got to do something. Take a shot down the field.
Patriots can't score touchdowns. They aren't scoring touchdowns, and that's the problem.
They don't have many playmakers.
They get into the zone where they're close, and they can't punch it in. They scored a lot of field goals. Nick Folk must have the most field goals of any kicker in the league this year.
He might have a lot of attempts, but
he's got to be right up there. And they need to find a way to score touchdowns. I don't know. It's going to be interesting the rest of the way. Who do they have left?
The Patriots?
Yeah.
Next game is against the Cardinals. That
at the Cardinals?
At Patriots.
At Patriots. So
it is a Monday night game, so they have 10 days off.
Okay, well, they need the rest.
They do.
That's what I would say.
The next game would be up against the Raiders at home. At home again? Yeah.
So they have two more games at home?
I believe so. Yes. They have three.
Three?
Because they have at Cardinals, at Raiders.
At Cardinals,
they have two
Raiders.
still. They have Bengals and Dolphins at home.
So they're playing on the road the next two games.
Yes.
Oh.
But they've played 4 straight primetime games. They play 2 Thursday nights. They play a Monday night, and then they go to Sunday night. They have 4 straight primetime games. And the Patriots right now are 0-3 right now in primetime games.
Well, they shouldn't play them in primetime then. They do better when they're not.
They would have 5 primetime games.
So maybe they can beat Arizona. Maybe they can beat the Raiders.
If you can't beat Stephon Diggs, how are you going to beat Devontae Adams, who's been a top 2 receiver, if not top 1, the past 4 years?
I don't think that. What's his name?
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr is as good as Josh Allen.
I completely agree with you.
So he's throwing it.
But I do think that I don't think Kirk Cousins is better than Josh Allen. But Kirk Cousins did great against the Patriots.
Dante is as good as Stephon Diggs. But
I say he's better.
I don't think that Carr is as good as Allen. So.
But think about it. I would put Kirk Cousins below Derek Carr, and I wouldn't put Kirk Cousins above Josh Allen. But Kirk Cousins did a number with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen. And now you go into the Raiders, who have Hunter Renfrow.
They don't get enough pressure on the quarterback. That makes it tough for the secondary.
The pressure comes from the edges pressure. Usually.
They got to get more pressure, and they've been trying to do it with the linebackers. And the last couple games, it hasn't worked.
But then you take the linebackers out of the passing game.
The other teams the teams that are watching the film, and they're seeing how these offenses are stopping the Patriots' linebacker rush, and that's it showed up. It showed up the last couple games. So I don't know. We'll see.
So
who do they have after maybe they have a chance to win the next 2.
Then they Bengals, Dolphins, Bills.
Yeah, those are 3 very tough games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they win 1 or 2. Maybe they win 1 of those. So they win 3 more. They win 9 games. I don't think that gets them in the playoffs.
It's tough. I mean, I said start of the season, the last 8 games are very, very tough. They were able to beat the Jets because Zach Wilson basically is not a starter anymore right now for the Jets. Won that 10-3 thanks to Marcus Jones, who was first offensive snap scored a touchdown.
They should play him more.
They gave it to him twice.
Yeah.
Didn't get much on the second try, but then you go to the Vikings, Bills, Cardinals, Raiders, Bengals, Dolphins, Bills. That 7-game stretch, you could very well go 0-7.
Yeah.
And that would mean you end the year 6 and
Well, they've lost 2 in a row now.
12.
They had a nice record there, 6-4. Now they're at 6-6. So.
They're 6-11. Sorry, 6-11. So I'm talking about the Patriots. If they lose out, they go 6-11.
I don't think they're gonna lose out.
Who are they gonna beat? Cardinals and the Raiders have your best chance.
Okay, so those are 2 wins right there.
Maybe.
It gets them to 8 games. Then they win 2 out of the next 3. Gets them to 10 wins, and they make the playoffs.
I would say that
I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful.
You're too hopeful right now.
Yeah, well, we'll see.
There's a lot of
disappointing game last night. Yeah, they didn't look good.
And what I'm a little bit surprised by was that no one called for Bailey Zappi because I think some people noticed that
they were booing the offense.
It's a lot of the coaching that's the problem. Because Matt Patricia, failure as a head coach, the Lions look horrible. I mean, I'm going to bring up the what's it called? The rank of the offense when he was head coach. Yeah, bottom 10 every single year as a head coach on offense. Literally every single stat. So he's not a great he wasn't a great head coach. He's not good on offense. Then you have Joe Judge as your quarterbacks coach, who made Daniel Jones look horrible, bottom 3 in the league. He's now coaching Mac Jones.
I think you may be right there that the offensive coaching is an issue that they have to fix.
Well, I'm also concerned about the offensive line because that offense, Trent Brown has to be the worst cut blocking left tackle or any offensive lineman I've ever seen. He just drops to try to get the defensive lineman to trip over him. He misses every single time. I don't know, he keeps going to it for some reason. He's like a 6'8".
He was good the first year the Patriots had him.
He was
very good. I'm
curious, how big is this dude?
He's big.
He's 6'8", 380 pounds, and he gets beaten. He gets beaten easier than anyone I've ever seen. Yeah. I mean, at least, on the defense, if you're that big, you could at least be a run stuffer, take 2 guys out. Trent Brown's getting beaten by 1 dude.
Yeah.
It's because he's not even blocking. He's just dropping it down and hoping that the defensive guy trips over him. All you got to do is move left or right, and you beat him.
There's a lot of penalties on him, too.
And that's another thing. The Patriots had 6 more penalties in this game.
Yeah.
Let's see. No, I can't find each of the penalties per game. But each game has been horrible for the Patriots when it comes to penalties.
Yeah, they make a lot of mistakes.
And once again, that's coaching. Usually when you have that many penalties, and these guys aren't necessarily super young guys. Most of these guys are veterans, 4, 5, 6-year guys, possibly even later. And then they're causing penalties. That's just bad coaching when it comes to that.
I need a pass rush from the front 4 to complement the linebackers. They don't get enough pressure on the quarterback. The guy's standing back there all day. He finds the open receiver.
Right.
They had a lot of chances on 3rd down, 3rd and long, and the Josh Allen was back there with plenty of time, found the receiver, and made the 1st down. It was really that's the issue for me. And I think their offensive line's a little bit beat up, right? A little banged up, and they need some help there because their running game is not what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the last time they didn't have 6 or more penalties was against the Colts. That's the only game, and I'm going back right now to find when they've had less than. Oh, yeah, we got 4. So in the past, I don't know how many games this is. They went 3-4. So the past 5 games? 5. The past 5 games, they've had under 6 or more penalties twice. That's horrible.
Yeah.
And one of those times they had 8 penalties. Like this right now, and most of it is a crucial. Like for instance, there was
that roughing the kicker. That was a killer for them.
That killed them.
That killed them. They could have won the game. They were getting the ball. The game was tied, and they might have gotten a field goal out of it.
The offense looked really good at that point too.
The offense was looking good. They were throwing the ball well. and
that penalty went out getting a
penalty,
touchdown.
they wound up getting the touchdown. That was a game changer.
The Patriots, I think, have just above a 50% chance to make the playoffs. It's looking more and more like they're going to miss it. I don't know. We're going to get into it right after this, but Belichick looks like he's missing one quarterback.
Oh, yeah. Tom Brady.
And we're going to get right into that topic because there's a report coming out by The Athletic. Jeff Howe, who has been in Patriots Insider for years, he's moved on from the Patriots now to more, I believe, of a general analyst. He was basically saying the teams that Brady could sign with if he potentially wants to stay in the NFL. This is last year with the Buccaneers. He's making about $15 million this year because he signed that one-year deal to extend it, more so to help the team. Then he retires, comes back for retirement, plays this year. Doesn't look great, but Jeff Howe was basically listing off teams that he could go to. The 49ers were one. The Raiders were one. And there was another one that I'm forgetting off the top of my head, but the Dolphins he didn't think he was going to go to. That was rumored about Brady and Sean Payton going to Miami, but it seems like Tua is doing fine under Mike McDaniel, so no reason for that. But one team that he could not say to count out was the New England Patriots, a return. Brady, Belichick, and he basically says that when there was definitely a rift between Brady and Belichick, especially when they drafted Jimmy G. Then the report came out that Belichick wanted to trade away Tom Brady. Jimmy G is the starter in 2017. Brady goes out, makes it to 2 straight Super Bowls, wins one, should have won the first one. But, Belichick couldn't stop Nick Foles and that defense. Just couldn't do anything about it. Then Belichick says, you're too old. We're not going to sign you to a long-term deal. So he leaves after 2019. Goes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, wins a Super Bowl, plays pretty well, throws 5,300 yards, 42 touchdowns last year. Looks really, really good. Has the second most touchdowns since 2020, which is very impressive. But it seems like when they met last year in Week 4, at the end of the game, Nick Folk missed they went for it on 4th down instead of kicking the field goal to put them up over the Bucs. At the end, when Belichick and Brady met at the center of the field, had that quick little hug, but then it came out that Belichick and Brady met in a private room for 23 minutes. It seems like their relationship was a little bit mended, which that's why Jeff Howe is saying that don't ever write off the Patriots. So I'm going to ask you, Brady, next year, if he decides to play, he'll be a free agent unless I believe the Bucs may try to sign him to a 1-2 year deal. Could be. But Brady, 46 years old, 24th season. Can you see Brady and Belichick meeting again, reuniting for 1 or 2 years, 3 years, however long he decides to play?
I'm not sure about 3 years, but I could see maybe 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that it wouldn't be Belichick going after him so much as it would be Kraft. Kraft will go after him. If he's a free agent, he's looking at other teams. Kraft will make a pitch to Brady, big time. And he and Kraft are very close. And I would think that Belichick would be receptive to it, too, because he's probably not going to make the playoffs this year. And his offense has been, it sputters. It's really not what it needs to be. It needs that spark that Brady can provide. And I think if Brady came back, that the first year back, it would be, that spark would be there, big time. And the fans would go nuts, right? They would go nuts. And it would be good for the game. It would be very good for the game if that happened. I don't think it's possible, but I'm not sure it's probable.
I'm gonna agree with you that I'm gonna go with it's not that much. I'm not gonna go with. I'm saying Brady doesn't go, because one, he never said he wants to go back to playing cold weather, so that immediately rules out New England. I don't think Brady would go back to that. Besides, his parents are getting older, so honestly, the 49ers seem more likely than the Patriots do.
I'm not sure about the 49ers really wanting him, though.
No, I think they're content with Jimmy G, and the problem with that is that Trey Lance, they spent so much. It's the Trey Lance Jimmy G. I don't think
they're still gonna. They haven't given up on Trey Lance yet. I don't think.
I think they should, because if Jimmy G makes a deep playoff run,
Jimmy G will be the. They're probably, if he makes the deep playoff run, they get. They have a chance to win the Super Bowl.
They do.
If that happens, deep playoff run, win the Super Bowl. or just a deep playoff run, I think they give Jimmy G another contract, but Trey Lance will be the backup.
I think it could be a Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers type of a thing where Aaron Rodgers is playing to a level that Jordan Love can't quite touch yet. And Jimmy G right now is playing good enough that Trey Lance, I don't think, would be an improvement or even close to being the same right now as Jimmy G is. But when it comes to Brady and Belichick reuniting, I just... There's a lot of pieces that Brady has right now and a lot of perks Brady has right now that once he gets to New England, it's going to never be the same as it once was.
Yeah, he might be able to bring some players with him.
I don't think it's the players as much as
the wide receiver core. They're going to have to do something about the wide receiver core.
They can't take Mike Evans.
Aguilar, he shouldn't be there anymore.
He can't take Mike Evans with him. Chris Godwin's on a 3-year deal right now. Leonard Fournette's on an extended deal.
No, but there'll be some. Who are the free agent receivers next year?
I don't. A lot of them are already signed up for multi-year deals.
Yeah, well, there'll be some receivers out there. I think Jacoby Myers is a keeper.
He's a keeper.
Right. Hunter Henry's a keeper.
He's there for another 2 years. John Smith.
Maybe Gronk would come out of retirement.
Gronk's not.
Gronk.
No way. I think Brady could. I think Brady could tap into what he did back in the early 2010s with Aaron Hernandez and Gronk. I think he could do a lot with Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. That sort of two tight end combo. Because I think Jonnu Smith is more agile than Hunter Henry, which that was what Aaron Hernandez's job is with Gronk. Gronk was the three guys need to take me down if I'm going to get tackled, and Aaron Hernandez was the elusive tight end. Jonnu Smith is very elusive. Put him in that halfback position. Hand it off to him a couple times.
I don't know why they aren't doing that now.
Because it ain't Bill O'Brien's offense anymore. No. That's the big perk of Bill O'Brien. And now I think if Brady comes over, is he? They're obviously going to need to stick with Matt Patricia. Belichick loves Matt Patricia. But are you going to move him back to defense? Because right now, Belichick has his son as the defensive play caller. Are you going to say, sorry, son, we got to have this guy who actually knows what he's talking about come into play?
I don't think so.
So Brady would need to adapt to Matt Patricia's offense and Joe Judge being his quarterback's coach, which I think Brady doesn't need Joe Judge to be his quarterback's coach. But Brady would basically need to come in, and he would need to basically decrease the level of talent he's playing with. If he's playing not great now, with a not great, but I guess okay offensive line. He has very good receivers. He needs to go to a team that has probably a C+ offensive line right now to probably a C+C, because they just can't block nobody, to a B- at best wide receiver core, and a running game that is inconsistent, but I think Brady would like Ramondre Stevenson, like I said before, James White, LeGarrette Blount blend.
Yeah, he is.
But you don't have that running back too. And the big problem with the Bucs this year is that they can't run the ball very well.
I don't know, running back too with Damian Harris when he's healthy.
He's not great though. Like this year.
You know what? He's just a good running back.
This year
they didn't give him that many
good.
chances.
He was the running back one all year. He got hurt, and then Ramondre Stevenson came up.
No, but last year he had some good games.
Last year he had I think like 12 touchdowns or something like that.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad, but
he's not bad. He's a decent running back.
He had 929 yards, 15 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Like the 15 touchdowns is really good.
Yeah. 900 yards ain't bad either.
He averaged 61 yards a game, and the Patriots last year, running the ball, they were ranked 8th. So they had a pretty good running game. Their defense was the passing defense was the major key. They were second in passing defense. This year, their defense is 9th in passing. They did a little bit better on running, but their offense is bottom 10 this year.
Yeah.
Across the board. Their passing offense is a little bit better than their rushing offense, but their offense is the problem. And the huge change was Josh McDaniels. And then it was, let's bring back Joe Judge, who was a failure with the Giants, and he had Saquon Barkley. Let's bring back Matt Patricia because he head coached the Lions and he's out of a job. Can I see them reuniting? I just can't. I think Brady, because Brady, when he left New England, there was this huge personality boost that we got. He got on social media. He's promoting he made the TB12 sports thing. He has the Brady clothing brand now. This huge personality came out that was suppressed when he was in New England.
Many more commercials.
Yes. And Belichick started getting a couple of those Subway commercials early on when Brady left last year, and the year before he was in a couple of those.
Well, Belichick, I think his goal is he wants to win.
He does.
He wants to win. He wants to win badly. He wants to be the number one winningest coach of all time.
That would take at least 2 seasons, I think, with the way this is going.
Yeah, well,
at least.
I mean, he's got to win, 10, 11, 12 games a year to be able to make it in a few years.
I think he's 31 games out of it.
So he's got to win. He'd probably win. Hopefully, he'll win 3 or 4 more this year. But he still have a ways to go, and he need a team that can get him there. He doesn't want a team that's going to go, 5-12.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a possibility, I think. Their schedule is going to be easier next year because they aren't winning that many games this year. They may wind up in last place in their division. So
yeah. Let's see.
Hopefully they get somebody in the draft too.
Yeah.
Actually, they drafted pretty well this year. They have some good rookies.
They didn't do too badly. Let's see. Belichick right now, because the record is 347 totally, I believe. Yes. Yeah, 347 in total. Belichick for regular season wins is like 30 30, 40 games off. But his playoff wins, that's where...
Yeah, well, he's not making... He hasn't been to the playoffs as much. He's been losing in the playoffs.
Right. So, right now, 296 plus... Wow. Yeah, 296 plus 31. I'm trying to do that math. That's 327. 327, right? Yes.
My guess...
He needs 20 games.
If Brady,
20 wins.
If Brady wants to play next year and he's a free agent... and he doesn't want to go back to the Bucs, or he's listening to other offers, he's going to get one from the Patriots because it's coming from Kraft.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's 327. Belichick needs 21 more wins to pass it. So with the way this is going, 3 seasons may not suffice if we're talking about maybe...
Yeah, he's not getting any younger.
Yeah, so...
He's 70 years old now.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said one of my hot takes was Belichick retires at the end of the year. And with the way the Patriots are going, can they sustain,
He's not retiring, I guarantee you.
But is he going to be able to keep up with just the tragedy of the Patriots offense? Because Belichick is so rooted in it. He's hiring people that he's hired before. He's not picking some random guy that maybe has done well in college.
Yeah, well, maybe these guys, maybe they will improve. Maybe Patricia and Judge will improve.
I don't think Judge has any room for improvement.
He doesn't do that much, though, right? Quarterbacks coach. What the hell's he doing?
Look at Mac Jones. You tell me how he's doing it.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I'm not sure what they...
What about Matt Patricia? He's been a primarily defensive guy. Last time he was part of the offense...
He was in college, he was an offensive lineman.
Yeah, no, the last time he was on the offense was 2005, where he was the Patriots' assistant offensive line coach. 2004 was his last time being like an offensive assistant. So that's the last time he touched the offense was 17 years ago. Yeah. Since then, it's been head coach.
I think his play calling has been questionable in a number of games this year.
And also, he's listed as the offensive line coach. The offensive line doesn't look good either. Keep getting beat all the time.
Yeah.
So the Patriots have a lot of issues, and I just don't see Brady wouldn't be interested in that. There's a lot of teams that are
I'll repeat it again. If he wants to play again next year and he's a free agent looking at other teams, he'll get an offer from the Patriots, a good one, because Kraft will want him back.
I'll agree with that. Kraft will probably want him.
Yeah.
So
not probably. He will. He'll want him badly.
I think that could also help Mac Jones, though, to grow under Brady. Because Mac Jones is signed, if they take his 5th-year option, until 2025. You bring Brady out for 2 years, Mac Jones learns they would need to sign for his 5th-year option, though.
Yeah.
Mac Jones comes in his 5th year, has a chance to, make a multi-year contract, stay with the Patriots. So the Patriots, they look bad right now. And I just don't think it appeals to Brady to come to that. Because Brady left the Patriots to go to, at the time, Chris Godwin, who's the number 1 receiver. So...
Well, I think the Patriots have a lot of good players. I think they need more on the defensive line and the offensive line. Those two. They need that, and I do think they don't have that really great wide receiver.
Right.
I think Jacoby Myers is good. He's a serviceable player. And maybe this Thornton guy would be good, but they don't throw the ball to him enough. That Thornton. He doesn't get the opportunities.
Kendrick Bourne. Where is he?
He played one play last night.
I love Kendrick Bourne, and Kendrick Bourne sounded off in last night's game, saying the offense needs to get going here. What are we doing?
Yeah.
So, and there was rumors that he would get traded. I like Kendrick Bourne. I'd say he's better than Nelson Aguilar.
I do too.
He's supposed to get played.
I think he's better than Aguilar.
He never gets in there. So how can we even tell? We're going to take a break right now, but coming up, we're going to talk about the Jets or the Giants. Which team is most likely going to slip up out of playoff contention? We make our Week 13 picks and my 13th edition of my Harvey Hot Hand right after this.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
Podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.
You have a lot to say. Maybe you've thought, I should start a podcast. Meet Anchor, the easiest way to make a podcast ever. It's a powerful mobile app and web tool that lets you record a podcast anywhere and distribute it everywhere. It's great whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out. And it's 100% free. You can record your show straight into Anchor on your phone, iPad, or the web, using any mic you want. Record alone or with friends or co-hosts anywhere in the world. You can add background music and transitions, and your listeners can send you voice messages that you can incorporate right into your next episode. If you want to produce your show using another app, you can upload your own audio directly from web or mobile and still take advantage of Anchor's totally free podcast hosting. Once your podcast is ready to publish, Anchor can automatically distribute it to every major podcast platform. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify, so your listeners can hear your show wherever they want. And on the web, you can see detailed analytics about how people are listening. Plus, you'll get a great-looking profile page where anyone can listen to your podcast or subscribe to it. And if you want to ask your audience to support your work, Anchor makes it easy to collect monthly payments from the people who love your podcast and want to see it grow. You really don't need a recording studio, expensive equipment, or a bunch of technical knowledge to deal with a podcast feed. Just get started and join the diverse community of podcasters already on Anchor. We can't wait to hear your podcast.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey, and as always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. Let's get right into it. We're talking about the Jets and the Giants. Both have 7-4 records this year. Mike White replacing Zach Wilson last game against the Bears. 315 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. That was the big highlight there. No interceptions. And then Daniel Jones and the Giants seem to be slipping the past couple games. They've gone from 6-1 to 7-4. So I'm going to ask you, the Jets or the Giants, both 7-4 teams. Jets right now are the 6th seed. Giants are the 7th seed. Which team is most likely to slip out of playoff contention?
Giants.
Why do you think that?
I just don't think they really. I think they played over their heads. They had a pretty easy schedule, and I think they played over their heads in the first 7 or 8 weeks. And now reality is biting. And they don't really have much on offense. The wide receivers, just Slayton, he's really there, and he's not an elite receiver. He's had some nice catches, but he's not an elite receiver. They don't have the elite receiver. Odell Beckham Jr. I don't think they're going to bring him back. He's too much of a distraction. And Daniel Jones is kind of reverting to his old self a little bit. His passing has not been, his accuracy's been an issue. He hasn't been making the critical play. And Barkley hasn't been able to run the ball. That's probably the biggest reason, right? The running game has been shut down pretty much. And I think the teams are playing a Belichick on them. They're taking away your best option, which is Barkley, and they're making Jones beat him, and he can't do it. The defense has played over their heads. I think they have a good defensive coordinator. He's done a very nice job. I think the coaching staff's done a great job in the Giants. They've taken talent that was average, maybe a little above average, and they made them into quite a good team there for a while. But they weren't playing the elite talent, elite teams, and against the tougher teams, and even Detroit, they got beat by Detroit. And I think the Commanders will beat them this weekend.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think the Jets, maybe they've found new life with Mike White, Although, again, we talked about this, a very small sample size. His first start was great before, and now this start coming in was great, but otherwise he'd been spotty big time in the few other games he played in. So it's a small sample size. We'll have to see whether he can keep it going here against the who are they playing this weekend? The Jets.
The Jets are playing the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, well, I think the Vikings are going to win that game too. So. So I think the Giants and Jets will still have the same record after this week, but I think the Jets have the better chance of making the playoffs than the Giants do.
I'm gonna agree with you, and I'm taking a look here because I've said it since since week 1 when Saquon won them that Titans game. Can they be good when they without the running game? They've only won one game where they've rushed for under 100 yards, and they've only lost one game where they've rushed over 100 yards. So there's a little bit of continuity here. When you rush below 100 yards, you are 1-4. When you rush for over 100 yards, you are, let's say, 6-1. So that's where all your wins are coming from, is really when you run the ball consistently. And a couple of those wins, three out of those 7 wins that they have, they've rushed for over 200 yards. There was a couple games where they're like there's one here that they've had 191. So basically 4 games where you rush for essentially 200 yards, and that's where most of your offense comes from. When it's off to Daniel Jones is not the guy. You know, is he doing good? Is it like sort of the Jimmy G thing where he's doing just enough to win games because the team around you is doing well? It could be that, because Daniel Jones is not committing the turnovers that he generally does. He's staying away from a lot of those interceptions, except against the Lions, where I think he threw 2 interceptions. But then he's not fumbling. The problems with fumbling the ball were the huge problems with Daniel Jones early in his career. He comes in and Brian Daboll sort of reconfigures the entire Giants offense to be about running the football using Saquon and his ability. And then when Saquon either doesn't perform well or doesn't perform, up to a certain level, the Giants offense just looks horrible. And then people go out and blame offense, wide receivers, Saquon's hurt, backup running back, coaching. The defense isn't good. Meanwhile, this is the same roster that you win with, that you perform well at. I mean, this is the same team, same roster you beat the Ravens with. Same roster you beat the Green Bay Packers with. Same roster that you beat the Jacksonville Jaguars, who just beat the Ravens with.
Yeah, and they beat the Titans, too.
They beat the Titans.
Yeah. They played over their heads, I think, in the first 6 or 7 games. Yeah.
It could be that.
Yeah.
And then the Jets coming out here, there's a little bit of a question mark because, once again, Mike White has like 4 games.
I also think the coaching staff made a big mistake in the Dallas game by going for it on 4th down at about midfield.
Right.
Because their game was still close there. They could have punted it and gotten Dallas deep in their own side of the field. Instead, Dallas wound up with the ball at midfield, and they went right down and scored a touchdown. Right. And that was turning point in the game. That was the coaching, not the players.
Right. And Mike White, 4 games. Right. Let's talk about the Jets for a little bit. Mike White has had 4 total games where he's played. So he's 2-2. The last time he played was a horrible. Like the last time we saw him, besides this past game, last year he played the Bills, lost that game. 0 touchdowns, 4 interceptions.
4 interceptions.
It was a very, very bad game. That's actually half of his total career interceptions. He plays the Vikings now, who don't have a great defense. They have a horrible passing defense. But their offense is really good, and the Jets' defense actually this year is doing pretty well, especially getting pressure on the quarterback. Can Mike White perform up to the level? They're, 3.5-point dogs this week, the Jets are. I'm picking the Vikings this week, and then you go play the Bills, who that defense against the Patriots looked pretty well. But it looked good. It looked really, really good. Got pressure on Mac Jones, forced him out of the pocket. They forced him to, I think, I'm going to try to quickly get it here. There was a stat by Next Gen Stats that Mac Jones actually broke a record. Do I have it here? Yeah. Mac Jones scrambled for 66.4 yards on his incompletion to Devontae Parker at 2:13 of the left in the third quarter. That's the most a QB has scrambled on a pass since Next Gen began in 2016. So That's how bad the Patriots offensive line, or I guess how great the Bills defense was against a crippled Patriots offensive line. And Mac Jones is going behind the line of scrimmage, running all over the place. That's how good the Bills defense is. Can he disrupt Mike White? Maybe, probably, honestly, because the Jets offensive line is decent. It's good. It's not great. So, and then you go play Detroit. You should win that game. Then after the Detroit game, you go out and play the Jaguars, the Seahawks, and the Dolphins. So you have a very winnable schedule here compared to the Giants, who go out and play the Commanders twice, the Eagles twice.
At home?
The Jets, no, they play at Dolphins.
I don't think they'll win that game.
It's going to be an interesting game. But then the Giants have to deal with a schedule of two games at Washington.
Probably the Dolphins will be playing for something in that last game.
Right.
Right? They're probably making the playoffs now, but they might be playing for they want a different spot than a better spot, playing the weaker team. Or,
right.
If they win the game. So I don't see the Jets winning that last game of the season.
And then you compare it to the Giants, who play 2 Commanders games, 2 Eagles games,
they're
Colts,
done.
and the Vikings.
They're done. They have a very hard schedule the rest of the way.
They're going to be up against a lot.
They're going against the Commanders, who are surging right now. Right? They've won 6 in a row.
I
think so.
I'll get up real
6
quick.
in a
row. They've won 6 out of the last 7.
Yeah.
They lost to the Vikings by 3. So 6 out of the last 7.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly impressive because they started off 1-4. So
what time is that game this weekend?
The Giants game?
Yeah.
1:00.
Okay.
Sunday at 1. So I was trying to see if the Jets really have like a problem, that like a crucial problem that would cripple them that much. But if Mike White plays okay, Michael Carter is out this week, their running back. If he plays okay, I think they could win some of these games. I don't think they're going to beat the Vikings or the Bills, but if Mike White gets 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, you could definitely beat the Lions and the Jaguars, maybe even the Seahawks. But the Dolphins, you're going to need more than that. The Bills, you're going to need more than that. The Vikings, I think you're going to need more than that. And then the Giants have a serious problem because you need to get your running game sorted out. You're dealing with a decent amount of injuries. A lot of people are questionable. But you're getting Evan Neal back, your offensive tackle. You're Leonard Williams, your pretty good defensive tackle. He's coming back. A couple of your cornerbacks are coming back. You got a running back coming back this week. You're bringing back another receiver. So you're getting healthier. But I still think Taylor Heineke, the way he's been playing, you got to play him twice in 3 weeks. Then you play the Eagles in between them. They got the Vikings. Then the Colts should be a win. And then the Eagles again. The Giants...
They ain't going to make the playoffs.
I could see them winning only one more game.
Yeah.
They could go 8-9. And this would be just a tragedy if they go 8-9 after starting 6-1.
Yeah, well,
it's a very New York football thing to do, though.
Yeah.
The Bills are the outlier, but between the Jets and the Giants and even the Knicks, I would say, combined New York sports, it's a very New York sports thing to do. Have so much hype and then just completely underwhelm everything.
Yeah.
So
break the fans' hearts.
Yeah,
that's what they go.
That was the Knicks a couple years ago in the playoffs. Yeah. You make the playoffs, yay, and then you just get destroyed by the Hawks. So I'm going to agree with you. The Giants are most likely to miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
And now it's time for our Week 13 predictions. This is where we pick every single one of the games for the week. We picked last night's game back on Tuesday. So let's begin. I don't know who's starting. It'll be you. You start. So go.
Okay. I blew it on last night, but I kind of suspected the Patriots weren't going to win, just the way they played the Bills the last 2 times before this. So, but I'm always going to pick them because they're my team. The Commanders, we just talked about this a little bit. I think the Commanders are on a roll here with the new quarterback, Heineke. They got a spark from him. It seems to be carrying over. I think they will beat the Giants at the Giants. The Ravens, they had a very tough loss last week, a heartbreaker right at the end. You're going to beat the Broncos because the Broncos are just not good at all. And I do think that the Broncos will be firing their head coach, if not before the end of the season, at the end of the season. I like Lamar Jackson. Look at the point spread there. It's a pretty big point spread. and I think he's going to be surging into the end of the year here and getting ready for the playoffs. I'm picking the Falcons over the Steelers, but I'm not sure about this one because the Steelers are starting to play a little better. Their rookie quarterback hasn't turned the ball over now in 3 or 4 games, and he seems to be getting more confidence and playing better. And I think the Steelers have a very good coaching staff. So I'm picking the Falcons, but I think that this one's a toss-up. The Vikings, I'm taking over the Jets. We just talked about this. I think the Vikings have more offense, and I'm not so sure Mike White's going to repeat that kind of game, although the Vikings have a very poor passing defense. So we'll see what happens there. I'm taking the Browns over Houston just because Houston's only won 1 game, and this is Deshaun Watson's coming out, right? This is his first game back in quite a long time.
Yeah.
He's probably going to be rusty and nervous, but he's going up against one of the worst teams in the league, so I think they'll find a way to pull it out. I'm taking Jacksonville over the Lions. Again, I think this is a very close one, a toss-up. The Lions are at home. They've been playing better. They have no defense, though, and Trevor Lawrence has been playing better. He has Peterson as his coach who gets the most out of his quarterback, and it seems to be a positive influence for Lawrence, who's made some really clutch throws here in the last few weeks. Lions have a very good offense too, but their defense stinks, so I'm taking the Jaguars. Green Bay, I think, will win over Chicago just because Chicago is I thought they were a better team than this. When they played the Patriots, they looked good, and that was the game that Justin Fields, they let him run more with it. But he's banged up now from running so much, and Aaron Rodgers, is he going to play or not? We don't know. He's going to play.
He's off the injury report and is expected
he's on
to
play. So I think the Green Bay will find a way to beat Chicago. This next one's a very close game too. That's the only reason I picked the Eagles because they're at home, and the Titans I do think are a playoff team. They've had a little bit of a hard time running the ball recently, even with Derrick Henry back there. The Eagles have been winning, but some very close games against teams they probably should have beaten by more points. But I still think they're going to pull this one out at home. I'm taking the Seattle Seahawks over the Rams. Just the Rams are all beat up too, and they just have played very poorly this year. Their defense, the secondary, even though they got some big names back there, they don't seem to be able to stop the pass. Their offense, Matthew Stafford, a couple of concussions now.
He will not play this week.
He's not going to play this week, so that's another reason why I don't think they're going to win. Seahawks, on the other hand, Geno Smith having a career year, could be most improved player. I think their defense is good. They're much better team than we thought, right? And they have a good chance to make the playoffs. So I like them to beat the Rams. San Francisco, I've said a lot about San Francisco in terms of how good I think they are. They have a great defense. I thought Jimmy G would wind up the quarterback. I didn't think it would be the way that it turned out with Trey Lance getting hurt and being out for the rest of the season. But everybody thinks the San Francisco's great. So it's a tough game. I think Miami is a good team. They have a very strong offense, a lot of weapons. But San Francisco's playing at home. I think they pull it out over the Dolphins. Kansas City, I think, will win over the Bengals just because Kansas City, I think, is the best team in the league right now. And they have the best quarterback, and they have the best receiver in Travis Kelce. And that combination, Mahomes to Kelce, is lethal. And I think they'll be able to make that work against the Bengals, even though the Bengals they've been kind of off and on team this year. And they started out poorly, but Burrow has had some very good games. I think this could be close, but I do think Kansas City will win. The Raiders against the Chargers. The Chargers won in a very dramatic fashion last week. I think it saved the coach's job because I think if they don't make the playoffs this year, that guy's going to get fired. And I think that they're going to find a way to beat the Raiders, even though the Raiders are at home. The Cowboys are a prohibitive favorite over the Colts, but I always get the Colts wrong. So chances are I've only got the Colts right once this year. It's crazy. I don't know what it is, but I do think the Cowboys, it should be stronger on offense, stronger on defense, much stronger on defense. So I think they'll find a way to beat them, and I didn't have them covering the points, but
that's something that is very different from what you normally do.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm happy you did it, because I had it different. We'll get into that.
Yeah, okay. And then I'm picking the Bucks. I like Brady still beating up on the Saints, even though he's only beaten them once in 3 years. I think he's going to find a way to do it. I think the Saints are that good a team, particularly with Andy Dalton at quarterback. He's going to start again this week.
Andy Dalton is projected to start.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I think they should given their record, why not go back to Jameis Winston and see what he can do? But I do think the Bucs are going to win that game, and those are my picks.
Hopefully you could do better. It's going to be interesting to see if there's any major improvements from what you do. And I just want to double check on that the Saints pick, and I think I believe it is Andy Dalton. I'm willing to say it is Andy Dalton. So let's get into my picks for this week. Not too different from yours, not too different. But let's jump right into it. The first one is obviously the Patriots Bills. We talked about that earlier in the show today. Let's move on to the next one. I agree with you. Taylor Heineke, I think, could do damage to this Giants defense. And I think more so the Commanders defense could beat up on Taylor Heineke and
They still don't have Chase Young back, right?
They're getting him back this week.
That's another reason why they're going to win.
I think the Commanders defense could do a number on the Giants offense.
You think they'll make the playoffs, the Commanders?
Right now, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
As we speak right now, they are in the playoffs, and I think they can make the jump over the Giants and maybe get that 7th spot. Who knows? The next one, the Ravens. Now, this could be considered a double-digit point spread, but because the Ravens need to win by 10 or more to cover, I'm going to stick with the Ravens, though, just because the Panthers beat them by 13 points with Sam Darnold as your quarterback. You're telling me Lamar Jackson, who's a top 3 player, runaway MVP favorite all year, right? He should be able to beat them. And if Lamar loses, what are we going to say now? Because Sam Darnold beat him. Derek Carr beat him. What are we going to say about Lamar Jackson if he can't beat on the Broncos? Who knows? But I am picking them, and they're going to win big, hopefully. Next one. I agree with you. Kenny pick 'em off has turned into more so Kenny pick 'em apart recently. I'm a little bit nervous about this pick, as are you, but I just think the way the Falcons are playing, Cordell Patterson's back, a lot of their offensive pieces are back, Marcus Mariota is playing okay. I think they can win here. Next one, the Vikings are just a better team. They're a better team. Mike White is back as the starter. He was started last year for a couple games. He didn't play. He played really, really well in one of the games against Cincinnati, 400 yards, 80% completion percentage. I just don't think Mike White is the guy. He's better than Zach Wilson. I don't think he's the guy, though. So I will take the Vikings to win here. Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, TJ Hawkinson, Dalvin Cook, even Kirk Cousins. That defense has some question marks to it, but I do think the Vikings will get the win here. Next one, the Cleveland Clowns versus the Houston Texans. Deshaun Watson's comeback game against his former team. And I'd say he would look rusty. But the way I really, really wish this point spread was a lot more pushed back than it is now. It's a touchdown. If it was a 10-point spread, I would probably say the Texans could pull away here, maybe and cover. But I just think the Texans are such a bad team. They shut down Davis Mills. They're going to keep Kyle Allen in. I just hate the Texans for being so underwhelming and coaching not great this year. Early in the year, they had some fire. They had some passion. It's just recently, they just haven't been a great team. He shut down the guy who was the second best rookie last year. Shut him down this year. I don't know. I'll take the Cleveland Clowns -7 to win. Next one. I think the Lions offense against these Jaguars, I think this could be we're talking about a 38-35 game potentially here. I just think the offenses, they'll get something going. I think Trevor Lawrence against that defense could flourish, and I think Jared Goff in that offense, Jameson Williams, the promising early rookie that tore his ACL late in college, He could come back this week, but it's more so looking like next week he can come back. I just think, this Lions offense, it was the number one scoring offense through like 5 weeks, which is incredibly impressive. So I think that they'll pull it out here. It's a 1-point spread. It's really a pick'em game. I'll take them to win and cover. The next one, Green Bay beats up on Chicago, and this game is it's a historical game. It's whoever wins this game now becomes the winningest team ever. Both these teams are right now tied for the most wins in NFL history.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So this game is a history game, and Aaron Rodgers beats the crap out of the Bears almost every single time. Justin Fields coming back from an injury. Aaron Rodgers is dealing with two injuries, rib injury, and also he has that broken thumb he's dealing with. I think Jordan Love should start this game, but I do think Aaron Rodgers, he got some mojo to it. When we thought the Packers were out, he goes out, plays the Cowboys, beats them down by 14, pushes them ahead, and wins the game in overtime. They'll beat up on the Bears this week. Next one. The Titans may be the best coached team in the NFL right now. Mike Vrabel brings a passion, a motivation factor, a love for his players, a love for the sport that not many other coaches do. And I think the way the Eagles have been playing against not great teams, keeping it generally close, I think Mike Vrabel with his coaching ability, Derrick Henry may get going. Ryan Tannehill with Treylon Burks, he seems to be pretty good. I think they'll pull away, get the upset win here, plus 4.5. We'll talk about my Harvey hot hand in just a number of minutes here. Titans get the win here. With Matt Stafford out, Cooper Kupp out, Allen Robinson out, the Seahawks are going to crush the Rams. I think this could be a bigger victory than potentially the Chiefs had. The Chiefs won by, I think, 16 points. We can see like a 20-point win here. We can see 30-10 maybe. But, the Seahawks defense had some question marks to it. It may be closer. I'll still take them to win, though, and cover the minus 7-point spread. This game between the Dolphins and the 49ers is a huge question mark for me. I am picking the 49ers because of their defense and the Dolphins' lack of defense. The Dolphins' defense is not as good as I thought it would be. But Mike McDaniel, the former coordinator for and under Kyle Shanahan, he may know how to beat Jimmy G as being his offensive coach, I believe, for the past number of years. Mike McDaniel coming in, the Dolphins offense looks great. It may be a shootout. And if it becomes a shootout, I don't trust Jimmy G in said shootout. So if the 49ers defense can't step up here, the Dolphins are going to win this game. But I think the defense will perform well, and they'll win here. Next one. A rematch of the AFC Championship game last year between the Bengals and the Chiefs. Jamar Chase coming back. Defensive back of the Chiefs, Justin Reed, calling out how they're going to shut down the Bengals pass catchers. They're right now. They're tempting a very, very good team right now. A very, very hot team right now. I think Joe Burrow, he's had some turnover issues, especially against the Steelers, which is very strange. He can't beat the Browns, which some teams you just can't beat in your career. That's like Brady with the Rams generally, Brady with the Saints recently. So be it. I think the Bengals here come out, get the upset win at home. Jamar Chase I think he's going to have a good game. T. Higgins, who was the star really in that AFC Championship game, I think they're going to have a pretty good game here. I think the Bengals do get the win here, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later in my Harvey Hot Hand. A little spoiler alert for that. Next one, the Raiders and the Chargers. Really, every Chargers win seems to be a Justin Herbert come from behind, game-winning drive touchdown or field goal, game-winning drive. I think right now, and the Chargers, do I have it in front of me? If not, I could bring it up. I do not, so I'm going to bring it up right now. The Chargers have the 28th rushing defense. And Josh Jacobs just put 300 total yards last week. 229 rushing yards. So I think Josh Jacobs could have a field day. And that's why I think the Raiders will get this win here. I think Justin Herbert won't be able to have that opportunity to have that game-winning drive. Next one. I didn't really stick to my guns last week, and I actually lost the plus 13.5 against for the Texans, and I actually won the minus 15 for the Chiefs. But it's just something weird here. The Cowboys also have a pretty bad rushing defense. They have the 24th rushing defense. And I think Jonathan Taylor could have a great game. And I think they're going to lose the game. And Jeff Saturday has a weird coaching thing. He generally keeps things pretty close. Almost beat the Eagles in his first, was it his first start? Second start? I think it was his first start. So I'll take the Cowboys to win here. I think it's a close game. Could be even a 7-point win for them. You could see maybe 28-21, maybe. I do think the Colts will cover the 10.5 point spread, though. And the final one, Monday Night Football, Brady playing in prime time against the Saints. Those two aspects of that game make it seem like the Saints are going to win this game. Because if we go back in time a little bit, let's just do this because I am curious. The last time the Bucs played the Saints in a primetime game was last year, which was, if I get it here, was a Sunday night game against the Saints and lost 9-0. 9-0 on Sunday Night Football. It was bad. It was horrible. Plus, Tristan Wirfs is going to be out for a while. That front four of the Saints, I think, will get to Brady. It'll be frustrating. Brady does not play the Saints well in the regular season, beating them once in the postseason to a crippled Drew Brees, who just seemed nowhere near himself. And they got fortunate with a lot of the turnovers Drew Brees had. So I'm going to say the Saints get the win here, and the Brady and the Bucs keep falling. This year's not their year, and I think Brady retires at the end of this year, truthfully. So those are my picks. I think we have a lot of similarities between our picks. But it's going to be an interesting week. A lot of matchups here. A lot of really, really good matchups. Chargers, Raiders, Chiefs, Bengals, Dolphins, Niners.
I'm surprised you think the Bengals are going to beat the Chiefs.
They beat them twice last year. In the regular season, come from behind a second half comeback in both games, actually. Mahomes crippled a little bit at the second half in both games. Yeah. That's where Joe Burrow flourished. So I think we're going to see I think that's going to be a tremendous
The Bengals, where are they right now in the win-loss? Are they in the playoffs? Are they a playoff
They
team?
are tied for first in the AFC North. They are 7-4. They are right now they're actually the 7 seed. But they could make a jump here. Could make a jump if the Broncos for some reason
I just think the Mahomes to Kelsey combination
that's a very deadly combination.
Deadly. Yeah. And you think that you really think the Saints will beat the Bucs? The Bucs are at home.
Prime time, Brady and that offensive line that's now broken even more with their best offensive lineman Tristan Wirfs out. That defensive four with Cam Jordan. There's something weird that goes on each of those games. Last primetime game, like I said, they lost 9-0. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Saints here to win. I don't... It's going to be that might be one of the worst primetime games ever. We talk about Thursday nights being horrible.
And you think the Titans are going to beat the Eagles? I
just think the way that Mike Vrabel revs up his team and the ability to coach and the passion he has, I do think that they'll be able to pull out and beat the Eagles.
Yeah.
It's going to be... because
they lost last week, right?
Think about it, though.
They lost last week.
They squared up with Mahomes, didn't have a first down in the entirety of the second half.
Their running game
and brought them to overtime.
Their running game has been poor recently.
But think about it. With Malik Willis completing 5 passes, didn't get a first down in the second half.
There was
went to overtime with Mahomes.
That was their defense.
That's what I'm saying. Good coaching. Yeah. Defense. I think they'll be able to pull it out.
I think Vrabel is a very good coach. I give you that. I think they quarterback.
That's the other thing. That just sparked in my head.
They have Tannehill.
The Jeff Howe also says the Titans is a potential landing spot because of Mike Vrabel. Same reason he said the Raiders because of Josh McDaniels. That just popped in my head. So yeah, he said the Patriots, don't run off the Patriots, the 49ers, Raiders, and Titans for potential landing spots next year for Brady. Just popped in my head now. So yeah, I think it's time for the 13th edition of my Harvey Hot Hand. This is where I pick the hottest teams to bet on per week. 5 teams. So let's get started with the first one. We're talking the Titans and Eagles. Like I just mentioned, the Titans may be the best coach team in the NFL right now. Mike Vrabel brings a passion and brings a motivation to his team. He connects with the players, and they really believe in what they're doing here. Ryan Tannehill is the big question mark there. I think Derrick Henry, it seems like the more time he gets the ball, the higher yards per attempt he gets because the defense just wears down because you're going up against a dude who's 240 pounds at 6'3", just barreling through you. So I could see, the defense might come out here. I do think the Titans get the win here. Upset win. Cover the 4.5 point spread, win 27-24. Let's go to the next one. Like I said, yes, I know Aaron Rodgers is dealing with 2 injuries, a broken thumb and rib injury, but it just so happens that Aaron Rodgers beats up on the teams he generally beats up on. It was the Cowboys. They were down by 14. You come back and win in overtime because for some reason Aaron Rodgers always seems to beat up on the Cowboys, and it's the same thing here. This is a history game for the team who wins the most games in NFL history. The Bears, the Packers. This is for history. Aaron Rodgers beats up on the Bears. He always says he owns them, so I think he gets the big win here. 9-point win, covers the 3.5-point spread. Packers win 30-21 over the Chicago Bears. Next one, another upset win, but this one is at home. A +2 point spread, underdogs for the Cincinnati Bengals. They get the win here. This is a repeat of the AFC Championship game, and in both games last year, the Bengals played the Chiefs. It was a second-half come-from-behind victory. Mahomes started to crumble in the second half of both of those games. Bengals played to a completely new level. Jamar Chase is coming back. It's going to be a very, very interesting game. I think it's going to be a very, very good game. But the Bengals do get the win here. Cover they're obviously going to cover. Upset 28-24. Bengals get the win at home. I believe this is the final one, the second to last one I have here. Saints Monday Night Football against Tampa Bay with Tom Brady. It's the Saints in prime time against Tom Brady in prime time. Brady does not play the Saints very well. It's been, for some reason, the Saints have got to him. For the entirety of 3 years he's been on the Bucs. He's won one regular season game, one playoff game. And it was mostly due to the defense that won them that playoff game. And honestly, mostly to the defense they won this past game. Because Jameis Winston decided to go back to 2019 Jameis Winston, throw a couple interceptions here. So I do think Brady and the Bucs, they've averaged just above 18 points a game this year. Compared to 29.9 they had last year. There's something weird going on. The offensive line's broken down even more because of Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs is hurt. He's going to be out. Now they're going up against a pass rush that has always gotten to you. The Saints defensive front has always gotten to Tom Brady and that Bucs offense. So I think Brady doesn't play well. We could see a couple of interceptions. I don't think it'll be a pick six like it was very early on in 2020 when Brady was with them. A lot of pick sixes early on. The Saints do get the upset win here at Tampa. Cover the +3.5 point spread. Beat Tampa 21-17. And finally, Raiders get the win. -1 point spread. Like I said before, rushing. The rushing defense of the Chargers is really, really bad. Josh Jacobs, 229 yards rushing last week. Over 300 total yards. I think the Raiders go out here. Josh McDaniels, they're right now clawing just for some respect. Not even for playoff chances, just for pure respect. And I think that's where they find some new motivation here. Josh McDaniels fighting for his job. And I say this rushing offense of the Raiders overcomes any sort of difficulties their defense runs into. The Raiders get a slim win, but they do get the win 31-28, cover the -1 point spread. And that wraps up another episode of the Harvey Hour. It's been another good episode. We'll see you, was it Tuesday? What's Tuesday's day? December 6th, I believe. To recap week 13. It's going to be a big week. MLB off season coming in. A lot of signings potentially coming up. Free agency news. A lot coming in for sports. NBA is looking hot. Celtics still looking very, very dominant. Warriors dealing with some troubles still. Lost to the Mavs a couple nights ago. A lot coming up. But that does wrap it up for us here at the Harvey Hour. My name is Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. Make sure you follow on social media at Nathan T. Harvey1 on Twitter and at the Harvey Hour on TikTok for updates, exclusive content, clips, and more. But for this episode, we're going to wrap it up. My name is Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We're the Harvey Hour. We will catch you guys Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Enjoy the games.
Absolutely. Bye.
Introducing video podcasts on Spotify.
Transform your storytelling into a show everyone can watch
Or listen to.
Easily upload your video through Anchor, Spotify's free podcast creation tool.
So whether you're showing off a new recipe,
Interviewing an exclusive guest,
or uncovering the next mystery,
you can now reach a whole new audience with Spotify.
podcasting just became more than audio.
Create with Anchor, watch on Spotify.